Are you winning or losing? Let's talk about defining your success. What's up, y'all? My name is Elia. I'm a mindset coach. I talk candidly about my journey, as well as share tips to encourage growth and healing and uplift anyone who may struggle with feeling seen. So, let's talk a little bit about what defining your success even is and why this is important. So, put simply, defining your success is just having a clear idea of what makes you feel effective, fulfilled, and accomplished. This is really important because these are the things that help keep you focused and energized and motivated and having a clear direction for life. There's no shortage of things we can do, but you got to reduce shiny object syndrome somehow. And having a clear idea of what your success actually means and entails keeps you on track. It keeps you motivated, especially in those hard times when you can't really see much to feel happy or positive about, but it keeps you driving toward that thing that you want to create or accomplish, or where you just otherwise will feel fulfilled and successful in life. And it keeps you productive instead of busy. Again, it's really easy to just do stuff. There's no shortage of things to do, but energy is currency. And having a clear idea of your success allows you to be a lot more intentional and focused and directed with the usage of that energy. So it's actually constructive. So it actually amounts to something and builds something, or just otherwise produces something that you feel, hey, I'm aligned with this. And I actually really resonate with where my energy is going and what that's then producing in the world. It allows you to really feel authentic in that, because you know that energy is going toward things that you care about, that matter to you, that you feel aligned with, that align with your value. And having a very clear idea of your success, that helps you stop from the urge to compare yourself to others. If you know what makes you feel successful, what makes you feel accomplished, what makes you feel fulfilled, what makes you feel like you've done a good job, it doesn't really matter what somebody else is doing, because you're focused on what you're doing and reaching whatever, or establishing whatever, or developing whatever makes you feel successful and accomplished. So, as always, my goal here is to humanize this. So, I want to share a little bit about what this has looked like for me at points in my journey. I didn't always have a clear idea of what my success actually meant. At points in my journey, I was very busy, but didn't really feel productive or constructive, but I was doing a lot. And I'm not going to say I was throwing things at the wall, but I wasn't afraid to try stuff. And that was cool for a point, but I started to really feel worn out. And I started to notice that, sure, I was setting these goals in anything I was doing, but the goals were largely set based on other people's suggestions or expectations of me. And a big example of that is when I actually first started college, everybody in my life was like, hey, Elia, you're great at taking things apart. You should go for engineering. I thought, hey, great idea. So I did. That's how I started. And I quickly realized that's not where I wanted to be. I also didn't really make good friends with calculus. We didn't see eye to eye. But the point is, I put that energy in and took out those loans and spent that time doing things that other people told me to do. And in that process, I was like, well, I don't enjoy this. Not even just didn't enjoy it because it was hard. I was just like, this isn't it for me. So I eventually wound up switching majors, and it wasn't anything in engineering. But the point of that is, again, that wasn't my idea of success, but I put in the energy and the time there, and I felt so unfulfilled in the time that I was pursuing engineering. And even outside of that example, there's been so many things I've put my energy to that I just felt unfulfilled by and inauthentic in, because I'm like, sure, I can do this and I can set these goals, I can go for these milestones, but what does this mean to me? It doesn't mean anything to me. It just means something to somebody outside of me who told me this is a good idea, or who told me this is good for me, or who told me they care about it. Again, I felt really busy, but not productive. And I allowed the distractions and the voices from outside of me, I allowed all of that to really kind of narrate my story. And at points when I felt like I wasn't doing things for me, I would then make excuses for myself based on the things people told me. And I'm just like, okay, well, maybe I didn't try hard enough at that, which I did because I'm all in or all out. I don't really do middle of the road. That's not how I roll. But by trying so hard at things that I didn't feel aligned with, I was also robbing myself of the energy to actually do things that I did feel aligned with and did really resonate with and value. But first, I had to get clear on what those were. So I want to share some tips that have helped me on my journey in hopes that they'll help you on yours. First, it's really important to get clear on your values. Your values inform so much of your decision making because those are integral to who you are. Who are you when nobody's looking? What really matters to you when all is said and done? Those are your values. And I'd even take it a step further and say your virtues, but for the sake of this video, what I'm going to say is it's just really important to get a clear idea of what matters to you to your core, because that aligns with who you are and the person you choose to be and how you want to navigate life. That's where you're going to make your decisions from. Secondly, it's really important to set boundaries on what you will and won't do to get ahead, to advance. I'm not a by any means or at all costs kind of person. Some things I'm just not willing to do. No matter how much I might want something, I'm just not willing to do that. I'm not willing to go there. To each their own. But for me, it's important to have those boundaries in in how I navigate, because at some point it's going to feel inauthentic. It's going to feel like this isn't coming from me. It's not for me. So it's really important to set those boundaries so you have an idea of when you've stepped outside of those values and when you're operating outside of your character or just operating outside of the person you want to be or way outside of how you even want to live your life in the first place. Additionally to that, it's important to accept that others may disagree or be disappointed by that. I, at various points in my life, have had to be like, look, I know you want this from me. I can't give you that. For whatever the case may be, I just need you to shift that expectation. And by releasing myself of that burden, that expectation, having to prove something to somebody else, I was really able to free myself and free that energy and do what I felt aligned with, do what I valued, really lean into my purpose. So it's important to at some point just be okay with people being pissed off by your decisions, as long as those decisions aren't intentionally harming anybody, right? It's important to not just do things and have no consideration for other people. That's not what I'm saying here. But even in taking others into consideration, you can't consider others more than you consider your well-being, your growth, your health, your joy, your happiness, your peace, because it's you and you at the end of the day when all is said and done. And lastly, it's important to be willing to see success even in small wins. Oftentimes, we want this big, grand idea or this just big event to feel successful, and that's just not always the case. Sometimes success is as small as taking one step and going left versus going right. It's not about winning the race, it's about putting one foot after the other and actually choosing to run the race. And sometimes you're like, okay, well, I've only gone 5 feet, but you've gone 5 feet. It's not you've only gone 5 feet, it's you've gone 5 feet. And so that small shift in mindset and how you view yourself and being willing to see those small wins as wins nonetheless, major key. So with that said, I do hope those tips help you on your journey. And as always, I want to leave you with one reflective question. And today's question is, what does success mean to you at this stage of life? Think about it.